What's going on, everybody? John Eric Poli here with My MMA News, and today's guest is a fellow Green Bay Packers fan. I'm talking to Dakota Bush, who fights Zhu Rong at UFC Vegas 37 on September 18th. So let's welcome Dakota in here. Dakota, how you doing, my man? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule and being here today.
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, no problem at all, especially talking to another Green Bay Packers fan. And I know we talked a little bit off air here about the Packers, but we'll talk a little bit later on here in the interview about the Packers again for everybody to hear us about it. But we'll get started with training camp here. Obviously, everybody wants to hear about your upcoming fight. So just how has camp been going as you've been preparing for this fight?
So I made a little adjustment in my training camp this fight. I decided to come up here to Glory to, do a 4-week camp with James Krause and all the guys up here. And, I can't say how much I've grown. It's just been exponentially. James is, great coach. He's got such a knack for the game. And, I can't wait to display, to the world, what a 20-week, camp-ish was for me versus 6 days, So everyone's going to get to see the real me this time out.
So obviously we know that Glory does great work out there, and you were talking about preparing for 20 weeks. I know that can be kind of a lengthy camp too. I know definitely a lot longer than 6 weeks or 6 days, like you were saying there before. But is there like a benefit to that? I know obviously you're younger in your career. Like, what's the benefit to going through a training camp that's 20 weeks long as opposed to? I know a lot of fighters might do a 6 and 8, maybe a 10 or a 12. So that extra few weeks like that. What's the benefits to it?
I really didn't kill it too hard until about 8 weeks out. Then I really started buckling down and training multiple times a day and really figuring out my schedule wise. The first 10 to 12 weeks, it was just still training, but just working on fundamentals, techniques, getting better and little positional areas. So I think that helped me grow a lot more than just killing it and then going 100% because I really got to fine tune the small details.
All right, now tell us about your opponent a little bit as you've been now preparing for him for 20 weeks. What have you seen out of him as you've been preparing for him?
You know, I didn't get to see much out of him because, that was his first fight in the UFC as well. But I think, he's a stand-up fighter, obviously, and he's going to try to counterpunch, it looks like. But I think his only weapon is his straight right hand, So as long as I stay out of that range and put the pace on him and the pressure, I think we're going to be fine.
So here you are. We're talking about now your 20-week training camp. You're out at Glory MMA. We're talking about your opponent, all these fight-related specific things. Crazy thing is, obviously, we know you're a full-time fighter. You're busy doing that, but you have a wife and kids at home. I mean, just how difficult is it going through this grind as this up-and-coming fighter, and then at the end of the day, having to come home and take care of a family like that?
That's definitely the hardest part of this, training camp, being gone, away from my kids and my wife. So coming home on the weekends has made it, a little better for me. And, it's just been a blessing to be able to train up here and to really reap the benefits. I know I had to leave them and it was hard, but after the fight, I'm sure it's going to pay off for me and we'll get to have some good family time, with the holidays coming up too.
And Donald Cowboy Cerrone is really the first fighter that ever kind of made this known. And now I usually ask all the fighters that have kids about this. I don't know if you remember, but Cowboy was saying how when his son was born, life was in a whole different perspective, and the fight game all of a sudden became a whole different perspective. Can you relate to that? Is the fight game now different for you that you're married and have kids as opposed to how it was before that?
Yeah, pretty much my whole career I've been a father and a husband, so it's pretty normal to me. But I can see like the difference between single fighters versus me. The luxuries they have versus the time spent away that I can't have like them. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Definitely. And now I do want to ask you, as you're now a few days away from your second UFC fight, Talk about your debut and what that was like. I can imagine, whenever you do something for the first time in life, it's so nerve-wracking and so hectic. What was that experience like for you? Like, do you feel you're more relaxed, I guess, this time around now, that as opposed to maybe you were for your first UFC walk?
I was pretty comfortable in my first walk. I knew on paper that he was supposed to beat me. So I went out with a nothing to lose mindset and was just going to let it fly. Um, this time I'm definitely going to be a little more settled in. Um, it's definitely going to be a lot more fun because I know I can push the pace longer. So I'm super excited, to get to actually work in this fight.
And was there something you took away from that experience too, your first UFC fight that you kind of will remember and take away with you for forever?
Yeah, just that, I have a dog in me that, you got to kill me to get me out of there. And on 6 days notice, 31-pound cut, I did everything I could to win the fight. I won a round. So I just know I can go the distance with these upper echelons guys on short notice. So I just can't wait. I keep saying it, but I can't wait to show the world what, full camp looks like for me.
And now you're one hell of an outdoorsman in the hunting and fishing world. I was looking at your Instagram before we came on air here, and one of the things that jumped out to me was that a shark that you caught? Like, how the hell did you catch a shark?
Yeah. So my father-in-law is also my coach. He has a huge reel and rod, and we go down to Florida every year, and I run the baits out and, in a kayak about 600 yards, drop it off and, wait for the magic to happen. And we've caught some tanks, some 10-foot hammerhead, some 8-9 foot bull sharks. So it's a crazy adrenaline rush and thrill.
And I saw that you called out Greg Gillespie for best fisherman in the UFC. Has he ever caught a shark like you have? Because I don't know, that resume you just listed off there is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't think any of them guys are catching the sharks like that. And, the only guy that I think gives me a run for my money is Clay Guida. So if we can get something together, have a little competition, that'd be fun. He's from Illinois, so we're right next to each other.
Hey, I'd like to see that as well. And let's talk, I guess, a little bit more on these fishing lines and hunting lines here. Obviously, we talked about the sharks. That's extremely impressive. Is there anything else that you have like a claim to fame of catching? Like, what would you say the greatest thing you ever caught was? Whether that be hunting or fishing.
Fishing wise is probably that 10-foot hammerhead. But my favorite thing to do, hands down, is turkey hunting. So my goal is to get the super slam, which is, kill a turkey in 49 states that they inhabit. So that's my huge goal outside of fighting. So that's the next on the bucket list for me.
Well, I'm sure as you go on through life, you definitely get the chance to experience that and get all those turkeys there. And now, finally, Dakota, I want to end real quickly. We're going to talk Green Bay Packers here. Now, like I said in the beginning, we were talking off air a little bit. I'm glad I met somebody who has the same mindset as me here. And tell all the fans, just like I'm going to hear, Jordan Love, I know there's a lot of drama here with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what the future has in store past this year, so we're definitely going to cherish this year. But if Rodgers does decide to leave, both me and you, we're very confident here that Jordan Love's going to be the answer here long term.
Yeah, I agree 100% that he's got the tools and he's pretty much a similar, Aaron Rodgers, maybe not as skilled yet, but I think he can develop into an Aaron Rodgers. And if we can get another guy like that, how could you be upset,
The best thing is I have a cousin that's a Vikings fan. He goes, I swear to God, if the Packers go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, I'm going to lose it. Just do you have any fans, like friends that are fans of either like the Bears or the Vikings that you just get to kind of rub it in their face? And now if Jordan Love is indeed the answer, like we're talking about here, that just continue to rub it right in their face as just the Packers continue to dominate the division?
Yeah, definitely. I got a good friend who's a Bears fan, and he thought Mitch Trubisky was going to be the savior. So, Andy, I'm sorry, buddy, but it's not going to happen anytime soon.
And one of the things, too, to look forward to, I guess, the Packers, if Rodgers does decide to leave, which if he comes back, obviously, I'm always going to accept Aaron Rodgers back because that's a once-in-a-lifetime talent to have there. But if he does decide to leave after this season, man, that cap space Green Bay is going to have a lot of money to play around with. I think the Packers are in a very good position, I think, going forward long term. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. They could, get some real weapons on offense and defense. And I think it would really settle him in to make a good championship run in the next 3 to 4 years if he does decide to leave.
100%. And Jair Alexander, by the way, everybody, he's going to be a future breakout star if he hasn't won already here. He's the real deal there. And I'm hoping that you're going to agree with me on this one here. Jair Alexander, I think next year, if I had this right at the top of my head, he'll be up for a contract. Whatever he wants, Green Bay's got to give him because he's like Darrelle Revis 2.0, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. You don't let a guy like that, go to free agency or get out of town for sure.
All right, Dakota. A lot of fun here talking today. The different outdoor stuff, talking family, Packers, of course, the upcoming fight. We're looking forward to seeing that. If anybody wants to check you out on social media, I know we mentioned where everybody can see all your hunting and fishing photos there. Tell them where they can find you out on social media. Also, if you have management or sponsors you got to give a shout out to, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, Dakota_Bush_155 on Instagram. Facebook's just Dakota Bush, and you can find me. Those are really the only platforms I use. But just thanks to all my training partners, everyone that's got me to this point in my life, my wife, my kids, everyone that supports me. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I can't wait to make everyone proud come the 18th.
All right, guys, that was Dakota Bush, and I'm sorry if you guys aren't Green Bay Packers fan. I get very excited when talking about the Green Bay Packers, but definitely excited to see Dakota's fight coming up here too. Again, a reminder, everybody out that fight is on September 18th. UFC Vegas 37 is the event, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, keep going to MyMMANews. Check out all the great content that we have that comes out there. Check out our social media pages, and you can also find me on social media at John Eric Poli. And also, if you haven't done so yet, please go to the bottom and hit the subscribe button. I always appreciate everyone that subscribes to this YouTube channel. We'll see you later, everybody.